Today we're gonna see how we can jump and fall in 3D using Godot for the 2 that has just been released. We're gonna see how we can set up a state machine where we can jump and fall. We're gonna see how we can also set up blend time to have our animation transitioning smoothly from one state to another one. And we're also gonna see how we can create directly a fall animation directly into Godot itself and not in Blender. So like this, that's gonna be a good way to show you how you can create animation in Godot for the 2 if you don't already know how to do that. I've been waiting for Godot for the 2 to be released for continuing that 3D RPG series in Godot. So like this, we can take fully advantage of what are the new tools that Godot for the 2 are bringing to us. If you want the asset, the link is in the description, and you can also check my courses if you want to. And anyway, let's get started. So the only change that I've made between video is just the color of the background. I've made it like less vibrant. So if you want to have something similar, that's my X code that I have here that you can copy to have like that sort of like background is a bit less contrasty. But otherwise, other than that, the logic is the same. And so basically for now we have a player that can move in like 3 directions. He can jump also, but you can see like the jump is not animated yet or something. And the camera can rotate. So right now what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna make our player jump and being animated while he jump. We're also gonna create a fall animation, and we're gonna also create a state machine for starting to handle the different states of our player. So for that we need to go back into our player scene, player script, and I'm just gonna click on that little icon right there so you can have like the script in a bigger screen. And so I'm just gonna also increase the police a little bit, the font. So that's that. Yeah, in French we say font, we say police. So I come here, I'm gonna put that there, and that's it. So here, for now, we don't have any state machine, and we need to create one because like we are putting everything so far in the move function, which is not automatically something that we want. So first, what is a state machine? A state machine is just a list of the different states that our player are gonna have, like for example, moving, jumping, attacking, and we apply a number to it, 0, 1, 2, and we can trigger that state. And while we are in one state, for example, jumping, we can't be in attacking, for example. There's layer to that. We can do a lot of different things, but for now we're going to make a simple one. So for doing that, we need to create what is called an enumerator. And so in Godot, you do that by creating an enum, and here you need after that to give it a name. So for me, it's going to be player_state. And now I'm gonna open curly braces or accolade, and I'm just gonna put my state there. So I'm gonna have move, I'm gonna have jump, and I'm gonna have attack for the next video, because in the next video we're gonna create the sword animation. So now that I have that player state, basically move is 0, jump is 1, attack is 2. If attack was before move, attack will be 0, then move 1, then jump 2. Because here it follows the order that we are putting into the list. So the first one is 0, the second one is 1, the third one is 2, etc. Now we have created that state. We need to have a variable that is acting like a bridge for like transitioning. So here we need to say var, and that variable I'm going to call it current state, and here I'm going to set that current state to be equal per default to player state.move. The reason why I am doing that is because like when we are not moving, that's our move function that is handling when we are not moving right here. We are checking the input that we are pressing, so we have stored our input into a movement variable. Then we have stored the rotation into a direction that is also checking where we are going compared to the movement. And then if we are moving, we are doing this. If we are not moving, we are idling. So that's why I'm putting the player state.move per default as the main one. So now that we have done that, we need to get different things. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to remove the portion of the code that is handling the jump from the move function, because we're going to change state and we want to be able to get certain input out of certain function. So for that, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create another function that is a built-in one in Godot. It is called _input event. And this function is a sort of like physics process delta. It is checked all the time regularly, but it's just for input. And so I'm going to just take this one and I'm going to just do alt and up, and I'm just going to move like that my piece of code right there. So now, if I close this tab, for example, I play my game, it's not going to change much. Like I'm going to still be able to jump like this, but you can see that our jump is still not animated. So that's where we are making our state machine. So here I'm just going to put that back to how it was. So here we need to think about how we are handling our jump. So because we have created our state machine right there, now we need to actually use it. And for doing so, what we need to do is in our physics process delta, we need to remove our move function that is right here, that is handling the movement. And we can replace it, now we have created that, by something we call a match statement. If you're coming from Unity, a match statement is the equivalent of a switch statement in Unity. So here we're going to say match. We're going to take our current state variable, so I can just copy it and pass it here. I'm going to put columns, and then here we're just going to take our player state. So we're going to say player state dot move, and then we're going to tell to Godot, okay, if the current state is in player state dot move, then go and check that function. So the function in question here is move delta. So we're just going to go here and we're going to pass move delta. And if we are in player state dot jump, then we need to have another function that's going to handle that. So here I'm going to create that function. Godot could not be happy because it doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to create that function under move. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to say func jump. And then now here I can pass my code. So basically now what we need to do here is we need to get the pieces of code that we have here. I can copy it. I can put it actually right there. I'm just going to put some lines so you can see better. We're gonna change what we have in our input. So here, when we are pressing our space bar, we were toggling before the velocity .y, and we were assigning jump velocity to the velocity .y. So like this, we were jumping. Now I'm gonna remove that. And what I'm gonna do here is like I'm gonna do current state equal player state dot jump, like this. So now, when we're gonna press our space bar, and if we are on the floor, we're gonna say to Godot, okay, the current state has changed. Now the player is in the player state.jump. So Godot gonna take a look at current state, and he's gonna say, okay, so in jump, we need to go and check the jump function. And so that's where we have our code right now. So now here, what we need to do is we need to give indication to Godot on which animation we need to play. So here I can say anim.play. And here I can look for my jump animation. And remember that I put anim right here because I've already stored my animation player that is handling everything in my player. So I'm just gonna go back to my player scene. My animation player here is the one that is handling all my different animation. And you can see that in my animation player here is free jump. So like that's why I'm putting that here. So now that I have done that, I have indicate to Godot that it needs to take a look at jump, see that the velocity change, we need to apply that force, and we need to display that animation. But we also need another thing, which is that we need to get to that line of code, the direction one right here, because we need to see in which direction we are jumping so we can rotate accordingly. So that's one change that we need to do here as well, is that those functions that we have here, that function that we have here move with variable movement and variable direction, we need to remove those like this, just the var, and we need to put it into its own variable at the top of the script, so it's accessible in every other places in the script. Because right now, just with like var movement put here, it means that this variable movement is only accessible into our move delta function, which is not automatically something we want sometimes. Sometimes we want that, but sometimes we don't want it. So here, I'm gonna put var movement, var direction, like this. And so now I can just grab that, line here, and I can put it right there. And now there's one last thing we need to do is like when we are jumping, we need to be able to still potentially move. So we need to just get our move and slide right here. So I can also copy that and I can pass it here. So with that done, we already have like quite a lot of things, but we're going to have some problems. If we are testing the code right now, let's have a look. So I can move, I can go around, but if I jump, you can see I jump, but I continue to jump indefinitely. And this is normal. It's because we don't have any way to reset our state. So basically, because we have changed the state of our player to jump, he add the jump velocity all the time. It doesn't stop it. So for that, what we can do here is like in our input function where we are checking our input jump, we can also say if input dot is action just release, and here we can take a look at UI accept. And we can also specify that if this time we are not on the floor, because if we have pressed the space bar, so it means we have jumped, so we are not on the floor anymore. So for that I can put exclamation mark is on floor, which means is not on floor. Then here I can reset the current state player to a player state.move. And so for that I can just copy that line right there, voila, copy it, and I can pass it right here. So now let's have a look. Once it's saved. So I can still move around, and what if I jump? You can see that it works, but the animation stops weirdly. And this is normal, it's because the animation stops at the time we have finished, at the time we are unpressing our key. So for that we need to have another function that we're going to create here, and that function is going to be called reset state. I'm going to call it like this because this is a function that we're going to use quite some time in like the code. So like this, it's obvious what it does. So here I'm going to come there, I'm going to just copy my line current state player state.move, because that function is going to be in charge of resetting the state through code or through the animation player. And so now what I want to do is I want to go back to the animation player right there, and I want to go back to my animation jump, and I'm gonna create a method track. So I'm gonna call that function reset state directly into my animation. So for that, I just need to go back to my animation jump, clicking on animation player and come here to jump. And then here we have add track. You can see I've gone, I've scrolled down a bit because like the new method is gonna be here. So I'm gonna click on add track, call method track, and because we want to call a method that is in the script, we need to get the node that has the script on it. So for us it's player, so I need to go here to player and click on OK. So now that I've created that, what I want to do is that I want that when I am I'm near to the end of my animation, I just want to make a right click, insert key, and here I want to get my function. You can say that my function doesn't appear here. I've made that on purpose. It's just to show you that you need to save first before you can import a function here. So you can see here my function reset state is not there, so I'm gonna cancel. But if I save, now if I am like right clicking, insert key, now reset state is showing right here. So I can click now on reset state, open, and it's gonna take a look at my reset state function right there. So with that done, now it's still not gonna fully solve the problem that we're gonna have for the animation part, because one of the problems of the animation part is also that we lack indication for Godot to know what to do. So here we only have if direction, so it means if we are pressing one of the movements that we have stored here, and we are on the floor, we are doing this, and if not, we are doing that. But it's not enough now because we have like a new state that has been created. So here we're gonna make some change. I'm gonna remove that direction here, and for now I'm gonna put if is on floor, and then here what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna say if direction. So it means if we are pressing something, then we can do that portion of code. But then, if we are not automatically doing that, what we can do is we can move our idle state, we can move it there, something like this. Voila. If we are on floor. And now, if we are not on floor, so if exclamation mark not is on floor, like this, then we can do something else. So if we want to, if we are pressing on direction, we want still to be able to move in the direction we want. So we're gonna copy that portion of code and we're gonna put it here. We're gonna, for now, just leave that animation like that, but we're gonna change it. And if there's no, if we are not pressing direction, so if we are not pressing any key, we want to also do that stuff. That's a bit of like how to say, it's not fully perfect, but that's the method that I've found that that works well for making that code. But if you know a way that is a bit better, please tell me, educate me, like I'm still learning 3D myself. So now we have like a code that is quite precise. We have like two states, if we're on the floor and if we are not on the floor, so that's good. So now what we need here is to be able to deal with like different animations. So when we are not on the floor and we are moving, we don't want to be walking in the sky, we don't want to be idling in the sky. We want to have an animation where we fall down. And so for that, we need to create a new animation because I don't have one in the 3D model I've created yet, but it's also a good way for me to show you how to do that into Godot. So I'm going to click on my animation player, which should open this window. If it's not the case, you can also click here. I'm going to go here to my 3D viewport to have a better vision of what I'm doing. So here I have my animation jump. It's right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on animation right here, that button, and I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to create a new animation and I'm going to call falling. It's going to open that empty track. Here, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go back to my jump. I'm going to go here to edit. I'm going to go to copy track. And I'm going to, here at the top, click on select all none. You can see that everything right now is unticked, but if I click here, everything is ticked. So I can now copy, and it's going to copy all the track that there is in my animation. I'm going to go to my falling animation, and here I'm going to click on edit, pass track, and it passed everything. You can also see that I've done that when my blue bar was at 0. So if you haven't done that, you can just do a Control Z and like you will be back to normal. So here I don't need to have all those animations. That's not something that I need to have here. So what I can do is I can remove, for example, all of this. And I can select them like that. I need to go down, to scroll down a little bit, and I need to click Shift and continue to select all the track that I don't want to copy. So I think all of those are going to be okay. So now I can delete. And now I can just grab specific portion of this. So for example, I'm going to grab all of those one here. Maybe, yeah, I'm going to grab all of those. I'm going to copy those like that. And I'm just going to now drag that a little bit. What has it done? It does the same mistake every time. There's something there. I don't know what it does, but it's like very, very weird. So I just do Control Z and I'm gonna just select one track like this. Voila. For some reason, it don't let me like automatically select a bunch of different keyframe. I don't know why. So I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna move that one around 0 like this. So now I'm going to grab that one here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So it's a bit fiddly, but that's going to work. And I'm going to put it at something like .3, something like that. So let's see, let's look. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is this one. I think I can maybe put this one here, and I can grab that one too. Put it here. So let's have a look. For now, I'm making a little test. Okay. So I'm gonna grab this one. We're almost done. So I'm gonna put this one at 0.2. Let's have a look. Okay, this one is already better. So now with that done, you can see that if I play, I have a sort of animation like that. You can make it a little bit more perfect. Like this is up to you, but what I'm gonna do is like I'm just gonna try to move this one and see if I can find a place where it works nice. Okay, maybe I can just remove this one here, something like this, and I can just put this one there. Voilà. And I'm going to move this one around here. Let's have a look. Okay. Yeah, this one looks already a bit better. So we're going to keep it like this. So now what I need to do is I need to go back to my code. And here, when we are not on the floor and we are moving, so we want to toggle that animation. So here, instead of to walk, I'm going to put falling. And here, I'm going to also put falling, like this. So now let's have a look and let's see if our game is working better. So I can move, and what if I jump? Okay, up. You can see that is good, but there's one thing here I want to show you, which is that when we are jumping, you can see that it goes back very quickly to the animation that is falling. There's no transition. And that is also something that we can use in Godot. So it's an animation player, and you go to here to playback option, and here you have default blend time. And you can see for now it's at 0, so there's no transition. And what you can do is you can put here .5, for example, .5, like that. And so now, if I launch the game, now if I jump, you can see that the transition is way smoother. And it's also way smoother when the player is stopping moving. You can see, up, it's way smoother. It's not as snappy as before. So here now we have our player that can move and jump in different directions. And we can now make quite some good progress. One thing also that I haven't mentioned is that when we are pressing our key, we are jumping higher, but when we are just tapping our key, we are making a small jump. So that's also like something that is quite interesting to know with that technique. That's one of the side effects that you can have that is very good. So that's it for this video. I hope it has been helpful for you. If it's the case, don't hesitate to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Me, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!